Morning, everyone. I just want to run through a couple of new additions to the Red Book. Basically, I have made a prototype quoting sheet to address some of the concerns that were raised at Monday morning's meeting. So I'm going to show you two separate quoting sheets, just so you understand what's been done. Okay, so first we're going to go through to our Red Book as usual, and you'll notice if you guys have some quick links to the Red Books, those have probably all been broken because I've created a new version of the Red Book. So just give me a shout if you have any difficulty. Okay, so as usual, we have our job data folder over here, and we have our quotation sheet down at the bottom here. Okay, so what I've done to the quotation is I've changed something. The first problem is that a lot of people were having issues when these data blocks that are automatically populated from the job data list would get edited by people. So I've now fixed those. So you cannot change those. So if you look here, I'll hit here, and a message pops up saying the sheet is protected. You can't. There are a few places you can edit. So the lines just below attention, I know some people like to add a few more client details, so those two can be edited, although try not to, rather put all the information into this one. This one can't be edited because that's tied to the client name. Okay, so very difficult to stuff this up. Then also this here can't be edited because it all comes from the job data. This can't be edited, that can't be edited. However, this can be edited. Okay, so we can type in here everything we want. All of this stuff here can be edited at will. Okay, there are some things you can't edit, so I think, oh no, you can do that. Okay. And these ones here are protected, but I think I must unprotect them when I get a chance, because that's where you would put the SG fees. Okay, right. And you can edit the cost, obviously, but you can't edit the VAT. The VAT will get calculated automatically. So let's make this simpler just so we can see what's happening. So 100 Rand, 15 Rand VAT total. Then can't edit that. Okay. So if there's some blocks here that you want to edit in future, just let me know and I'll have to change it. But I think for one, I need to make that editable. Okay, so that's basically the quote sheet now. So and obviously you also can't edit down here. Basically, the only thing you can edit is these blocks here and these two here. Everything else is automated. So that requires you do a good job with the data blocks in the Red Book. Okay, so that's the first problem. The first problem was people screwing up the automation. So I've fixed that. But remember, you're always fighting between automation and flexibility. The more automated you have, the more people will whinge and moan that they can't do certain things. And the more flexible that you have, the more people whinge and moan that everyone else is messing up their system. So you're always balancing automation against flexibility. So this is still quite far on the flexible scale because you can put in whatever you like here. Okay. The second complaint that we got, or let's call it a comment, not complaint, was that it would be nice to, not every time we have a job, we have similar descriptions. So why can't we just click a button and a description gets populated here and all we have to do is decide on the price? Okay, so that brings us to this sheet down here. It's called prototype quotation. And that's exactly what I've done here. So everything is exactly the same. I've even got the same job listed here. But interesting point here, you see these ones I've unlocked, so you can edit. So in this one, you can edit here. So if you want to put in SG fees, again, you can edit here, but you can't edit here. You can also, and very importantly, the change here is you can't edit here either. So your next question is, how would I edit these blocks? By the way, you can edit the price, so we'll just do this again, make that 100 Rand. Okay. Okay, I need to, and VAT's calculated, totals calculated. Okay, so the idea is if you come over to this side of the sheet, as Rob has put it, and as Lynette will tell you, any project is a series of tasks. So the idea is to divide up our life into tasks. Okay, so general topographical survey should always have the same description. Calculated cadastral should always have the same description. Placement of cadastral should always have the same description. Land surveyor certificate, you get the picture. Height certificate, and I've made it quite broad. So height certificate, survey of critical height elements and certification of heights. It's very broad, okay, which is dangerous, but at the same time, it needs to be broad because this is all going to get, this is going to be automated. And then existing ground level, I've just put a couple in. You'll see there's another general topographical. Okay, this has obviously been, okay, there are a few duplicates here, but it's just a test bed. Okay. And then up here, I've got some custom ones. So let's say you went, okay, somebody asked me to make them ice creams. It's rare for us to be asked to do that. So maybe once in 50 years, we'll be asked to make ice creams for a client. Okay, now here are the 7 items you can put in a job. You won't be able to put any more. Okay, so any job needs to consist of only 7 tasks at maximum. And those 7 relate to these blocks here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now up here, if I put them all onto blank 1, see I've got these drop-down menus. Oh, sorry, let's make them blank 2. Okay, we now have a blank quote. Okay, so we're looking at District 6. Now, for example, just let's say the client had asked us for a land survey certificate. He asked us for a topographical survey, and for some strange reason, he asked us for a point cloud survey. So I'd say in order, I'd go, okay, I've dropped down here. Task 1 was a general topographical survey, okay. Task 2 was a land survey certificate, and task 3 was a point cloud survey. And let's say there was something custom. So let's add in custom. Let's not say make ice cream. Let's say place line points on Kirsten Street. I say Kirsten Street because that's a very custom thing. Okay, so that would never come up with another job. Okay, so I can then say, okay, well, we'll just go with blank 1 for the custom item. And now all my descriptions, I've got 3 very strict common descriptions we use all the time and 1 custom one below. And then all I have to do is decide on the prices. Okay, survey of site area, it's a smaller site, 8 grand. Drafting of the land survey certificate, I think that's a standard 4 grand for us. Establishment, okay, so this is the laser scan survey. It's 8 grand a day. Add a bit more for some padding and a soft price for those line points. And there we go. Everything's calculated. I shouldn't have to enter in everything here. The client should be there, but if I wanted to add something in here, I could say whoever the more specific client is, John Doe. And if there was some SG fees, I could type it in there. But other than that, I haven't had to look there. Obviously, I did these, so they're probably riddled with spelling mistakes, and I did them last night. So I wouldn't. I don't consider these are very much a prototype thing, but that would be the way you could do it, and then you can immediately go to, and then you would just go back to your usual thing: print, continue. I think this is not. I've got a feeling this is not going to work because. Got the setting wrong there. It's going to print the whole sheet. Oh no, it worked. Okay, there we go. Just incidentally, the reason I chose 7 task items is it's a mix between what I can fit in each one of these lines here. So, you know, there's enough space in there to give a reasonable description of an individual task. And so this is the most words I've had for a task. And I've fixed those column widths so they work, you know what I mean? So you can't expand those column widths anymore. You know, again, that's a limitation, but you have to have some limitation in terms of automation, because if you were to change the column widths or the row height, sorry, and then suddenly you want to pick a standard description and it doesn't fit into that row height, then someone's going to sit and change the row height again. So so if you want to have automation, it's got to be very fixed, and that requires short, limited length descriptions that fit into those boxes. So this might be a bit of a waste of space because we could have fitted in another line item there, but it doesn't matter. We don't get that option. So I think that pretty much explains it. If you have any questions, feel free to use the system, but you're going to have to acknowledge that it is a custom. Right now it's a prototype. So if you wanted to go down here and make some additions, so let's find out. There's got to be a spelling mistake in here somewhere. Order LiDAR cyclone levels. You can change these basically. So if you thought collection of historical boundary order LiDAR server needed something extra like quality control, by all means add it in, as long as it does not exceed the spaces allowed to it, which you do have to check a little bit. I wanted to make these boxes the same height so that you would know, but I can't at the moment. Okay, so that's the basic thing. There's two things that need to happen here. You need to, three things need to happen. You have to just have a look through this, see if you like it, number one. Two, see if you understand the limitation of this extreme automation, because you're going to have to, so to speak, fit into the mold. You can't do your own thing, and that's important to understand. And then lastly, somebody is going to have to populate all of these tasks to explain our entire operation, and we don't want to have more than like 30 in there, because if it gets too big, it gets too cumbersome. You know, we don't want to have we don't want to hold a custom one for making ice cream, because that's a waste of a block. So somebody needs to go in and populate all of this stuff, so that any job can be described by our 30, maybe 40 different tasks. Lastly, just again thinking towards the future, we could add costs in here. Now those costs could be anything from a soft cost, so it might be something like just a suggested cost here. So, you know, for topo surveys, maybe 10 Rand a square meter, so that the person doing it, we can start standardizing our costs. Now I know that's a whole different debate whether we should or not, but it's just an option. Or we can have a hard cost where we go, well, land surveying certificates, they cost 4 grand. Doesn't matter where you are. Doesn't matter if you're sending a postage stamp to Joburg or Bloemfontein, it costs the same. So those can either be suggested prices, or we can hardwire them to the quote. But at the moment, I think that is very much a next step. Okay, so please have a look. Please comment. If there's enough feedback that we like it, we need to get going and populate that list so we can delete the old quote. Well, it's up to management, but I'm not a fan of having dozens of quoting sheets. We should really have one place that we go to. You know what I mean? Just to minimize the clutter of administration. All right, thanks, guys. Otherwise, enjoy your day.